fabulous fiber friends. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Karen and I am your host. Wow, wow, wow. Is this crazy pants or what? We need a distraction. So I am not going to dwell too much on the situation. It is just crazy pants. But know that I'm thinking about all of you and hopefully everyone is doing well. One more thing. Guys, please, please, please. I am not hoarding food. I have like 4 days supply of food and then we go back to the market every couple days. I don't know what the deal is with toilet paper. I mean, I always keep in my house a couple of weeks of toilet paper just because when it's on sale I buy it. But I only have, you know, enough for a couple of few weeks. I am not buying 3 and 4 months worth of food and stuffs. So, but those people who do need it, those people who are the first responders, the nurses, the docs, they're all pulling long shifts. And then by the time they get off work after maybe a 24-hour shift and they want to go to the market and there's no food for them, we need to be thoughtful of those people. So please, please, please keep that in mind. You know, there's no reason to buy more than you really need. I think in California, our governor and our mayor have both said there's plenty of food. People need to just, you know, be a little thoughtful of how much you need so that those who are helping us during this time can get the food and the supplies that they need. Anyway, so that's my little preach for today. Let's move on to finished objects. I actually forgot about a finished object that I had done several weeks ago. It was done. I needed to mail it out to my nephew's boy, so for my great nephew. And I'm going to insert that here. You guys can check that out, watch that. And then when we come back, I will tell you about my other finished object. For my great nephew. Actually, a friend. Well, first of all, I saw this book. I think I showed you guys this book before. I was at a local yarn store and they had this book, and as I was checking out, I saw the book and I thought, oh, this is really great, and for my knitting club, because there are several women in the knitting club who have in the past year become grandmothers, so they're making things for the grandchildren, and I thought this would be, and I have, you know, great nieces and nephews that are quite young, and so I thought this book would be really great for knitting for little ones. So the pattern is called Lorenzo, and I think I mentioned to you guys before when I talked about this book that these patterns, I could not find them on Ravelry, so they're only available through this book, unless that has changed. And these are by Jody Long, is the designer of all these patterns. So Lorenzo, I will show you this. This is, that's the top, let me show you this garment close up. You can see the patterning in there. And look at my cute little toggle buttons. I did do my slip stitch crochet around all of my hems. So around my sleeve hems, my slip stitch crochet, and I actually did it all the way around the hem, including the vents. So I went up and around and came around, and around the neckline. I want to show you the neckline closely. So here, let me show you the back. Maybe it's easier. So there's the neckline. As I've mentioned before, I think the slip stitch crochet really adds a nice finish to all garments. I know it's a pain to do because when we're done, we want to be done. But for I do it for almost all my garments. I like the look of it to be finished, to be, you know, like clean lines and all of that when you're done. The pattern is wonderful. It is super, super easy. And it's small, of course, so it goes quickly. Okay, we are back. So my next finished object is this gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous crochet shawl. This is, oh my God, I'd love to keep it. But as I mentioned in my last episode, This is a gift for a woman I know whose cancer has returned, unfortunately. And this is for her. I am so thrilled. I don't think I think it looks far better in person. I don't think the camera really is capturing all the colors. Trying to get everything in there for you. Anyway, I am so in love with this. I can't wait. I am so tempted to cast on another crochet shawl, but I won't because I'm trying to work on something for my husband, which I'll get to at Works in Progress. But you guys, isn't this gorgeous? Oh my God. It is just to die for. I am so, so happy with this. I think I got the pattern or patterning. I don't know that it's any one particular person's pattern, but I went through many different YouTube videos, tutorials, and then I found one that worked for me, that I liked best. And it was, I think, New Stitch a Day. I'll put it below. I'll double check that is the YouTube video that I used. And you cast on multiples of 17 and you go at it. So that's what I did. There are many, many different yarns in here. I have Asylum Fibers in here. I have Apple Fibers yarn. I have, is it Koigu? Is that how you pronounce it? Koigu. I have Dylots Studios. I forget. There's many different dyers brands represented in this lovely, lovely shawl. I have to say, I did magic loop, which was great because then you don't have all the ends to weave in, which is super cool. However, on my Instagram, if you follow me, you know that after I washed this, I noticed I was sort of spreading it out, and I said, oh my God, what's this big hole here? And it turns out that one of the joins had come undone. So that was not cool. And someone wrote on my Instagram that they actually do the Russian join because they don't trust the magic loop. Now, I have to say, I have not done the Russian join. I look at it and because I don't think you can do it with singles, right? You need to have plied yarn. And I did have some singles in here, so I wouldn't have been able to use the Russian join. But I guess for the most part, the magic loop did seem to work, and hopefully it will hold up over time. And I will use it again when I make my version of this. So that worked out really well with the magic loop. And I think if I have any questions about a particular yarn that may not do well with the magic loop, I'll just maybe leave those strands longer and weave I'll do the magic loop and then weave those in afterwards. What I do have to say is I'm not sure I'm so keen on, for the magic loop, the singles. Like I used some singles fiber yarns, and they didn't do so well with the magic loop because you give it even the slightest tug and they just tore right apart. So that was frustrating. So I had to be very careful about that. So I think if I do incorporate any singles into my version, I will those strands I think I'll do the magic loop very gently, and then I will have to weave in a little bit around where I made the join just in case they come apart. Otherwise, I didn't want all glitter yarn and I didn't want all non-glitter yarn. So I mixed and matched all types of, glitter and non-glitter yarn. There's cool colors, there's warm colors, and I can't tell you enough. I've been waiting to record this. I've been waiting to send this until I recorded this episode so I could show you guys. And so it's been sitting on the back of a chair near the kitchen, and I just stare at it every day saying, oh my God, I really, really, really want this. I just love it so, so much. I love all the colors. So even though I've got some works in progress that I should be working on so I can finish them quickly, I am so tempted to cast this on immediately, or another one of these immediately. So I think my gift recipient, I think she will absolutely love this shawl. My next, I think, and last finished object is this beautiful, beautiful hanging leaves sweater by Beth MacDonald-Stone. Here's the sweater. It comes in both a cardigan and a pullover style. So, and it's a 3/4 sleeve. I decided on short sleeves. I love the lacework. The lacework is so beautiful. It's elegant and it's just really fabulous. Because I used weight significantly different from what the pattern calls for, and needle size is much larger than the pattern called for. The pattern calls for size 5 and a 7 needle, and I think I used a 9 and a 10. I think that's what I used, a 9 and a 10. And so I was unable to finish the chart completely because if I kept going, I was worried that my underarms would be down here, and I didn't want that. So I chose a place in the chart that I thought it would be okay if I stopped the chart. And I think, I don't think that looks too bad. The leaves should really come to a point, and they don't. And because of where I stopped, there's a little bit of rippling in the garment here, but I don't mind that. Actually, I really like it. And so it's very flowy. The garment it's knit in the round, top down. I did short rows. Some of you may recall from an Instagram post that I did, I have mohair on me, that I wanted the neck to sit a little higher, so I worked short rows into the neckline, the ribbing neck, into the neckline, and that worked out really well because I couldn't add it after the neckline, right? A lot of patterns call for that, the short row shaping right after your neckline border, but you go right into the lace work, and so I decided I'm going to put it into the neckline and see what happens, and it actually worked out really well. I did my slip stitch crochet, as I always do, to reinforce my neckline and just keep it, sturdy. And of course on my, around the sleeve hems and the hem, I always do that as well. The pattern is not a split hem. I decided to do a split hem only because I think Jody from the Grocery Girls has been doing a lot of split hem sweaters, and I thought, oh gee, maybe I'm going to do that too. I'm going to do a split hem. And I'm probably like well behind the times because I think a lot of people have been doing split hems for a while. And I'm just now catching up. But that's me, always behind the times. And what else can I say? What else can I say about this pattern? The lacework is charted, as I showed you, and otherwise the instructions are very well written. So Beth did a great job with that. So check out Beth's Ravelry page. She does have some other designs on there as well, so you may want to check her out if you haven't, if you're unfamiliar with her work. I might insert a few other pictures here just so you guys can see it. I posted something on Instagram if you want to see a short video I did on Instagram. But the pattern is really, really lovely. So check out Beth's Ravelry store because she has some lovely patterns there. Also, the yarn I use, and I'll have all this linked to my Ravelry projects page, and I will link that below. And I've mentioned it before, but if you have not tried the Rowan Summer Light DK, try it. It is so, so lovely. It is smooth like silk and butter, and mixing it with the mohair, as you may recall that I've mentioned before, for those of you that are tuning in again, that it was an experiment for me. I have never mixed mohair with cotton yarn, and so I did with this, and it was really so nice to work with. It was nice on my hands when I was knitting and working with it, and the finished fabric there's just something refreshing. It's kind of refreshing. It's I really want to touch this and pet it. It's just really, really beautiful. So thank you so much, Beth, for gifting me the pattern. I really love it, and I hope others will find it as fabulous as I do. And thanks to Rowan for the Summer Light DK. You guys really should check them out too, because that is really super groovy yarn. So I think that about does it for my finished objects. My first work in progress it's called the Garland. It is by Stephanie Polmeyer or Palmeyer. I guess it's Palmeyer. I found this pattern in an old pom-pom, I think 2013 pom-pom. I actually found it on Ravelry, so I downloaded the pattern book from Ravelry. And I loved the simple little bit of lacework at the bottom. The pattern instructions call for knitting in the round. I decided to knit flat, although I may knit the sleeves in the round. But I have a problem, which I've mentioned before. If I'm knitting in the round and then I have to split for the, for the upper part, my tension, I'm not confident that my tension will remain the same. So I will convert a knit in the round pattern to knit flat, especially when it's easy like this. So I just, I knitted flat. Here's where I'm at. This is the back piece. It's a sort of a cropped, not a shorty cropped. I made it a little longer than shorty cropped. I think it's supposed to be more cropped than this, but I like mine just slightly longer. And so that's the back of the garment. I'm already working on the front of the garment. I think I finished the lace work on the front of the garment, and I'm about just a few rows into the stockinette portion. But this went, I don't know, in a few days I was able to knit this, so I should be able to finish the front quickly. And then I will, what I may do is I'll sew these pieces together, and then I may join, I'll sew the front and the back together, and then maybe I will do the sleeves in the round. I'm not sure. I may work them flat. We'll see. Oh, the yarn I'm using, this is, for those of you that are returning, you may recall when I was at Stitches West, my husband picked out some yarn for a sweater. Well, guess who's getting it? Remember I told you my husband doesn't mind glitter. He said as long as it's not too sparkly, he said, oh my God, I love the glitter. It's so pretty. And I had a hedgehog mohair in the colorway Dew. And these two together, I was going to do for my husband. But then I realized I only have two of these, and for my husband I might need a third, and the color might not match. At least that was my reasoning. That was my excuse. So I decided that I would make this for me instead, because I was so in love with the colors. So that's what I did. So those are the colors I'm using, and hopefully by the next time I record I will have this finished. And I'm using, I think this pattern too calls for thinner, well actually that pattern calls for just a single strand of mohair. Since I'm using a fingering weight and a mohair, I'm using like size 8. I think I started with an 8 for the ribbing, moved on to a 9 for the body. Again, I used an old pattern that I had knit to give me an idea of how many cast on stitches. So I cast on and I knit and I would measure, and I think it was actually pretty spot on so that I didn't have to tear back and redo it. So that worked out well. I think I will have a little less positive ease than the pattern calls for, but that's okay with me. I think I'll still have enough that it'll still look fabulous. And so that is that work in progress. So because I kidnapped this yarn for a sweater for me, I've had some Shibui in my stash for a while. I think it's the cashmere fingering weight, and then some of their lace weight, their silk mohair. And it is so beautiful. But I don't know, I just haven't found the right project for the color, and for whatever reason, I guess, right, squirrel, all the other colorways are attracting me, so it's been sitting there, and I keep thinking, my God, I need to use this yarn. It's been sitting for a couple of years, I really should use it. Although, truth be told, I have some yarn that I've had in my stash for 5 or 6 years, and I still haven't touched. So for hubby, I have taken, so here are, I'm getting down, I'm going to have to cake up another mohair. But so here I'm using these dark blues, the Shibui, and I'm holding it together with, so it's 3 strands together, and this is a hedgehog. I think this is a potluck. So I'm holding all 3 together, and that sort of gives me a worsted weight fabric yarn. And I'm using Tin Can Knits flax, but I'm not following it 100%. I'm not doing, there's a design down the sleeve, and I'm not doing that. So I thought for my first, if this turns out really well, then I will make my husband another sweater with that patterning down the sleeve. But for now, I wanted it super simple. And this looks really small, you guys, because it's crunched on these needles. But it does fit. Trust me, it does fit my husband. I tried it on this morning, and he hasn't been very accommodating with my fittings. I keep telling him, if you want a sweater, you have to put up with fittings. So this is what with the dark blue and then the wild hedgehog color, that is the fabric I'm getting. And so I just, you know, I love this, but I wanted to tone it down a little bit because I thought if I make a whole sweater like this, it's got, I've switched from another colorway. This is the one I'm using now. And then I have another hedgehog that has a lot more gray in it, so I'll use that towards the bottom. So it's not really a fade because I think the dark blue yarn will help just sort of blend out the three colorways that I'm using. So the blues stay static, right? My blue stays static throughout, and then I am changing this here. I'm changing these, the third color. So that's where I'm at so far. And yeah, because I stole my husband's yarn that I wanted, because it actually, oh, I told you guys last time that I had a skirt that's going to match. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to have to find another sweater project for my husband and cast on immediately. My maximum recording time stopped my camera. So anyway, so yeah, so I'm thrilled to death about that. My husband will get his sweater, and I kidnapped the other colorways for my project. Please be well. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next go round. Bye.